Welcome to the Sales Acceleration Show. Today we're going to discuss how do you build your brand on social media. And I've actually a real social media star. And I think, Jessica, explain to the people what you do.
So I started off by designing phone cases when I was still studying. Oh yeah, thank you for showing. And I drew them by hand and I had to find my audience. So I started an online store and started studying the algorithms online on social media platforms on how to reach the largest possible audience, and I found a way.
So how large is your audience on all this social media?
So I have my personal brand and I have 50,000 plus followers there on Instagram, and then I have 37,000 followers on my Antwerp Avenue account
Store.
on Instagram.
So actually we're having somebody that actually walks their talk. Right. But next to that, you had large corporates asking you how to do it for them and all of that. So
yes.
You actually rolled into a consultancy role.
Yes, because I found a way to reach different types of audiences instead of just one for my own brand. And I think that, a lot of people started seeing that I was,
But it's pretty successful. So how do you start? So I'm a large corporate, for instance, and I want to start doing this. I'm thinking Instagram, that's something for me, right? So how do I start? What would you say to them?
Okay, so you have to start by finding your customer avatar. And that is basically just your end customer, and you have to know everything about them.
So you have an own avatar? How did you call her?
She's named Sarah, and she's 23 years old. She's still studying. She loves pink, and she's a little bit feminist.
That's why on the channel, if you check the channel, it's all pink.
Everything is pink.
Right. Jessica's pink. Sarah's pink. Right? So you actually find your own avatar?
You find your customer avatar, and then you start by replacing yourself in their position and finding where they find themselves online, where they navigate. And
so it's actually where their attention span is going.
Exactly.
That's what you exactly need to find out. Okay. So once you got that, what then?
Okay, so then you start targeting them, and you want to help them come towards your brand and see if they like it, and if you have the right people, and if you know which customer avatar you're aiming at, you will be successful. And
then you start posting. But how do you get them to engage?
Okay, so if you post quality content, that is the second part. You have to find your audience, then you have to find a way to keep them. And keeping them, you can do that by creating content that is, worth watching and worth looking at. So then they will... On Instagram, it's very important that you have a call to action to save and like your posts, but saving is, in the new algorithm, it's the most important tool.
So actually the KPI here, a key performance indicator, is saving.
Exactly.
Yeah. So mine was on Facebook was sharing. If I share, I would be really happy because I know I'm seeing the audience of the others and I get all the referrals. So sharing is caring.
Parallel
Sounds
to
dodgy, right? But it's the same. So it's saving actually.
Saving is the
because you can't share on Instagram.
Exactly, but you will rank higher in the algorithm and get more people to see your posts if you get a lot of saves. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So you find a way to put the brand. People are coming. They're engaging. You keep them, and then you do CTAs. You do actions to really that. So then the other question would be: if I'm a company, what do I do? Do I go for the company, the brand of the company, or do I go for a person? Because my sales theory is always people buy from people, actually. So how do you do it?
Well, personally, I do a parallel strategy. I have my personal branding, I have my corporate branding, and they are very intertwined, but it's two separate profiles. But if you're going for corporates, I would recommend using a lot of faces and using people in your strategy.
And on the product one, you sell. But on the private one, you don't sell.
I don't
try and stay the balance.
I don't do hard selling.
You don't do hard selling.
Soft selling.
Selling. Right.
But
you
I
kind
do
of
sell.
lure them into the trap.
Yes, and I think that I will engage them more in the story, in the backstory about how the product is made and what goes into the brand and the back business and everything. And it makes people appreciate more what you're doing for them.
One of the things I keep hearing about all this is authenticity. You need to be authentic. What does it mean for you? How do you do that? How could somebody else do that?
Well, when you know your customer avatar and when you know your strategy, don't ever go from that path. Just keep focusing on that path and never just accept any offer from any big sponsorship or anything if it doesn't match your authenticity.
Because you will lose, actually.
You will
start
lose
losing.
followers, you will lose authenticity.
People are confused.
It's impossible to gain back.
Really?
So,
really?
yes, exactly.
So once you lost them, you really lost them.
You lost them. So
God.
keep authentic.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So any other advice you would say when you start out and you say, because I know a lot of people and they have like 400, 500 followers and they're kind of stuck and they try lots of stuff and they keep being stuck. So how do you breach the, let's call it the glass barrier, how do you suddenly breach it? Because I know at a certain stage volume will take over, quantity takes over, and you actually get more because of the volume. Is there...
You start by building your volume because
Yeah.
the prestige is very important to your newly found customers, and then you focus on making content that is, content is king. So
Yeah.
making content that is valuable and to your customers, actually.
So you actually really produce things that they will like, share, save, depending on which format, whatever you want.
What they want to see.
And the only way to do it is to get an avatar called Sarah, for example, and to really figure out what they love and do.
Exactly.
And I think not a lot of people are actually doing that really properly. I think a lot of people are just pushing stuff about themselves, but never thinking about who could actually share.
Reverse engineer.
Yeah.
Find the way they're thinking, what they like, what they would like to see, and go from there.
That's a good tip. I'm gonna do that more actually. I would say thanks a lot. You really, really walk your talk. Where can we find your products? How can we find you?
Okay, so my website is antwerpavenue.com. If you're a girl from 18 to 24 and you like pink, you can find your cases online there. But I have my personal Instagram, which is Jessica de Blok. My last name is D-E-B-L-O-C-K for those of you who don't know Dutch. And my brand's business account is Antwerp Avenue, named after my beautiful city.
Good. So I see you all there. If you enjoyed the show, I would say give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thanks a lot, Jessica. See you next time.
Thank you for having me.